Bonjour les étudiants of class 10. So hope you're doing good. So today we'll be continuing with the exercises of lesson 4, La Santé. We'll be doing just two exercises, two simple exercises. One is with the pronominal verbs, okay, or the reflexive verbs, and the other one it's actually a comparative exercise, a comparison, an exercise with comparison, and that's it. Okay, so let's get into the slides. So here it is, the exercise number 7 of lesson 4. Mettez les verbes pronominaux au présent. Suivez le modèle. So as you know, there are pronominal verbs in French, okay, or it's called reflexive verbs. So they are called reflexive verbs because we'll be using reflexive pronouns when you're conjugating the verb. It's not like normally like we conjugate the other verbs, okay, for example, je parle, je visite, and so on. Here actually we'll be using some pronouns like me, te, se, nous, vous, ce. So those pronouns are used so that the subject, okay, is doing something to itself, okay, to the subject itself, okay. So myself, yourself, himself, herself, ourselves, and so on, right? And here we have already seen how to conjugate a verb, okay, so the pronominal verbs. So here we got an example and we got 5 sentences. So the example we'll see: mon ami se réveiller de bonne heure. So the se réveiller is actually the pronominal verb. You can see the pronominal verbs, they'll be starting with se, okay, they'll be having the word se and then réveiller. Se réveiller, which means to wake up oneself, okay, in the infinitive form. Se means oneself, yeah. This se changes accordingly to the subject, yeah. So how you got to change is actually mon ami se réveille de bonne heure, okay. So my friend wakes up himself, okay. So here we are using the same se, but when you're conjugating for mon ami, the third person singular, masculine singular subject, so then the se changes to himself, the meaning, okay. So in French it's se remains the same, but in English when you translate it will be like my friend wakes up himself, okay, some good time, okay, early, de bonne heure, okay. So you can see the 5 sentences now. Tous les étudiants se réunir devant le collège. And what I have observed in this exercise, it's actually all the subjects are third person, okay. All the subjects are third person. For all the 5 sentences, the subjects are third person. Tous les étudiants, ni tout, les enfants, Sundar, ma fille, okay. So just the first one and the third one, they are plural, okay, third person plural. The second one, fourth and fifth one, they are singular but third person. So why is it third person? Okay, so why I'm precising it's actually the se doesn't change, okay. The se réunir, se reposer, se coucher, se sentir, se guérir, les verbes, the se doesn't change. The reflexive pronouns, they don't change, okay. So they change only for the first person and second person. For the third person, now mind if it's singular or plural, okay, the se remains the same. So now we'll go for the first sentence. Tous les étudiants se réunir devant le collège. Tous les étudiants means all the students. So se réunir, which means to gather, okay, gather themselves or reunite, okay, devant le collège, in front of the college, okay, in front of the college, all the students gathers. So now you got to conjugate the verb réunir, okay. So you can see réunir, it's an IR ending verb, okay, it's an IR ending verb. You know how to conjugate an IR ending verb. You cut IR, you'll be adding the endings IS, IS, IT, IT, ISS, ONS, ISS, EZ, ISS, ENT, okay. For the third person plural, we'll be adding ISS, ENT in the place of IR. So it will be like tous les étudiants se réunissent devant le collège. All the students gather themselves in front of the college, okay. In English we don't use themselves, we don't use a reflexive pronoun, okay, but in French we do use, okay, tous les étudiants, all the students, you reunite or gather in front of the college, Okay, even that can be said, okay, in English, but in French we'll be adding themselves. They gather themselves in front of the college. Okay, se réunissent, R-E accent U-N-I-S-S-E-N-T. The second sentence now, Nitu se reposer dans le salon. Nitu, the name, okay, so it's a third person and it should be feminine, okay, girl's name. Se reposer, the verb is se reposer. Se reposer means to take rest, okay, to take rest, voilà, dans le salon, in the hall. So you got to write like Nitu rests himself or herself, takes rest herself in the hall. Okay, in English it doesn't make much sense, but in French this way you got right. Nitu se repose dans le salon. It's a normal er ending verb. You just cut r. That's it. You got the conjugation. Nitu se repose dans le salon. So the third one, les enfants se coucher tôt. The subject, it's les enfants, the children. Se coucher, it's a verb, to sleep. Tôt means early. Okay, tôt means early. So now how will you change? Les enfants, as I told you, third person plural. The se remains the same. Coucher, it's an er ending verb. So what will be the ending? ent. Okay, couchent. Les enfants se couchent tôt. Okay, so the children, they sleep early. Okay, se coucher means normally to sleep or to lay down. Okay. So the last before one, Sundar se sentir mieux après la greffe du cœur. Sundar is the subject. Se sentir, the verb. Se sentir, which means feels, to feel. Okay, to feel. Mieux means better, to feel better. Après la greffe du cœur, so after the heart transplantation. Okay, so after the heart operation, okay, so Sundar feels better. That's what you got to say. Sundar, se remains the same. Sundar se sentir. Okay, the verb should be conjugated. Okay, sent, S-E-N-T. Okay, it's a T-I-R ending verb. So Sundar se sent mieux après la greffe du cœur. So the last one, ma fille se guérir peu à peu. Ma fille, the subject. So ma fille means my daughter or my girl, my daughter. Se guérir, which means to get cured, to get healed. Okay, peu à peu, little by little. Peu à peu means little by little. Se guérir is a verb you got to conjugate. Okay, so ma fille, se remains the same. Guéri. Okay, so when you conjugate the IR ending verb, okay, here it's a normal IR ending verb. So guéri, G-U-E accent R-I-T. Okay, you cut IR and add IT. Okay, so that's a rule, same way like the first verb. Okay, ma fille se guérit peu à peu. So my girl, my daughter, getting well. Okay, so it's getting well or getting cured, getting healed little by little. Right, so now we'll check the answers here. Tous les étudiants se réunissent devant le collège. Nitu se repose dans le salon. Les enfants se couchent tôt. Sundar se sent mieux après la greffe du cœur. Ma fille se guérit peu à peu. Yeah, hope it's fine. So now we'll move to the next exercise. The 8th exercise. Faites les comparaisons indiquées. Suivez le modèle. So you got to do a comparison. Okay, you got to do a comparison which is indicated. Okay, so follow the model, follow the example. Okay, so as you know, for the comparison we got 3-4 words which are important. Okay, so when you got a plus sign you got to use plus, plus. If you got a minus sign you will be using moins, moins. If you got a is equal to sign we will be using aussi, aussi. Okay, so these 3 words are important. Okay, for plus sign we'll be using plus, plus. For minus sign we'll be using moins, moins. For is equal to sign we'll be using aussi, aussi. And the other 2 things which are important, it's actually the verb être and then que. So être will be used for conjugation, as we got an adjective next to the first subject. Then we'll be using que, which is than. Okay, than in English. Okay, so than the other thing. So these 5 things you got to remember: plus, moins, aussi, the verb être, and then que. Okay, so the order is actually the verb être first, then plus, moins, aussi, anything will be there, then comes que. Okay, que. So the example you can see: le boulevard, le boulevard. Okay, le boulevard, which means the boulevard or the ring road. Okay, we call it as a ring road or boulevard itself. Even in Pondicherry we got a boulevard. Okay, so which connects boulevard, it's actually a road, okay, which surrounds the main area. Okay, which surrounds an area, we call it a boulevard. Okay, so then we got a plus sign, you can see le boulevard, then we got a plus sign, then we got an adjective large, then la route nationale, which means the national route. Okay, so the NH, okay, the national highway or the national route, so NH we call. So how you got to change this sentence? It's actually the boulevard is larger, okay, is larger than the NH, than the national highway. That's how you got to mean. Okay, that's how you got to write. So you can see le boulevard est plus large. Okay, le boulevard est plus large que la route nationale. So in English we just add er, right? The boulevard is larger, okay, or is more large than the national route, than the national highway. Okay, in English we'll be saying more large or mostly larger, okay, than the national highway. So that way you got to use. Okay, so now we'll see the signs. Okay, so the indications given in the 5 sentences. The first sentence you can see the plus sign. Okay, the plus sign. The second sentence also got a plus sign. Okay, the third sentence got a minus sign. The fourth sentence and fifth sentence they got an is equal to sign. Okay, hope you can see, right? Okay, so now wherever you got the plus sign for the first 2 sentences we will be using plus, plus. So where you got a minus sign for the third sentence we'll be using moins, moins. For the last 2 sentences we got is equal to sign, so we'll be using aussi, aussi. Okay, so now we'll make sentences. The first sentence: le stade, grand salle de conférence. Okay, le stade means the stadium, okay, or the auditorium. So normally it's the stadium. Okay, le stade, grand, which means big, salle de conférence, the conference room. So you got to make a sentence like the stadium is bigger than the conference room. Okay, this is how you got to make sentence. The stadium is bigger than the conference room. So you got to use the verb être first. Le stade, third person singular and it's masculine. So anyway we use est. Le stade est, est. So now we got the plus sign. We'll be using plus. Le stade est plus, plus. Grand. Okay, grand comes, the adjective comes next to plus. Plus grand. Now we'll be using que, than the conference room, right? Than. Okay, que, and the article is missing. Okay, you got to add an article. Okay, if the article is missing, actually for the other sentences the article is given. Maybe it's a typo. Le stade est plus grand que la salle de conférence. Que la salle de conférence. So the second one, les cinémas, so we got a plus sign. Nombreux les théâtres. Okay, the cinemas, the cinema halls. Okay, the cinema halls. Numerous, nombreux means numerous, more, several. Les théâtres, the theaters. Okay, so cinema, it's actually it's a place where we watch movies. Okay, we often call it as theater, but it's not theater, it's cinema hall. Okay, and theatre, it's actually, they are theaters where they perform shows, plays and shows. Okay, so we say an auditorium normally. Okay, a theater or an auditorium where will be having stage and the artists, they will be performing there. Okay, that's what we call as theatre. Okay, cinemas where they project movies. Okay? All right, so you got to say like the cinemas are numerous. Okay, are more numerous than the theaters. Les cinémas, it's plural, third person plural will take, so we conjugate the verb at for the third person plural, which is sont, S-O-N-T. Les cinémas sont plus nombreux. Okay, les cinémas sont, plus sign, plus nombreux, nombreux que les théâtres. Que les théâtres. Okay, Q-U-E, que les théâtres. So now the third one, le musée. Okay, le musée, it means the museum. Animé. Okay, animé, it means animated or colorful. Okay, so decorated. Okay, so happening. Okay, so it got different meanings, depends on the context. Le musée animé, we got minus sign. La salle de cinéma. La salle de cinéma, which means the cinema hall. So you got to make like the museum is less animated. Okay, it's less colorful, it's less dynamic than the cinema hall. That's how you got to make. Okay, so now same way we use the verb être. Le musée est moins animé. Okay, le musée est moins animé que la salle de cinéma. The museum is less animated. Okay, le musée est moins animé que la salle de cinéma. So the last before one, les restaurants ici. Les restaurants ici. The restaurants here. Okay, the restaurants here. We got an is equal to sign, so we use OC. Chers, C-H-E-R-S. So C-H-E-R-S got two meanings. One means dear, D-E-A-R, and then the other one it's costly. Okay, costly, it's an adjective. Okay, so the restaurants here are as costly as the Mauritian restaurants. That's how you got to make les restaurants mauriciens. Okay, les restaurants mauriciens means the Mauritian restaurants. So you got to make like the restaurants here are as costly as the Mauritian restaurants. So as expensive as or as costly as. So les restaurants ici, so it's plural, third person plural, les restaurants. So I'll be using sont, S-Y-N-T. Les restaurants ici sont aussi chers. Okay, sont aussi chers, C-H-E-R-S, que les restaurants mauriciens. Que les restaurants mauriciens. Okay, so les restaurants ici sont aussi chers que les restaurants mauriciens. So the last one, la piscine. La piscine, the swimming pool, is equal to sign we got OC. Froide, so froide, which means chill, cold. Okay, la plage. Okay, la plage, so you got to make like la plage means the beach, right? So the swimming pool is as cold, okay, it's as chill as the beach. Okay, so normally you should say the sea, but it's fine. La piscine is as cold as the beach. Okay, la piscine, so singular, third person, est. La piscine est aussi froide que la plage. La piscine est aussi froide que la plage. So now we'll see the answers. Sure. Le stade est plus grand que la salle de conférence. Les cinémas sont plus nombreux que les théâtres. Le musée est moins animé que la salle de cinéma. Les restaurants ici sont aussi chers que les restaurants mauriciens. La piscine est aussi froide que la plage. So that's it for today. Okay, we'll continue the other two exercises in the next class. Okay, so please write the classwork. Okay, so we'll meet in teams. Ciao.